Okay, here are the exact 3 funnels that I can't live without within our agency. And if you're running a high ticket business, you probably can't either. Well, first of all, we're going to talk about a lot of stuff today. We're going to talk about the exact funnel triangle that we use within our agency, right? And that has scaled multiple of our clients to 6 figures a month, right? Even completely from scratch with cold traffic only. We're going to talk about the warm traffic best practices and about the cold traffic best practices that we use within our agency, and why you essentially don't need more funnels or an overcomplicated business with 4, 5, 6 funnels, why you essentially just need one simple system that boosts your overall business conversion, right? And I really want you to think about this entire thing like a triangle, like an ecosystem that interacts with each other. And as you can see, we've got a couple of different entry and exit points, and we want to make sure we maximize everything within there between, right? And yeah, once that's set up properly, you essentially just need to do better and to do more, which means you need to analyze the data, analyze the backend, look where are the drop-offs, what is the messaging that works, and then you do more of it and run paid traffic to it and do scale shit to the moon, right? And today we're going to be revealing the exact ecosystem that has generated multiple 6 figures for us in the past. And probably you're already running some of these funnels, but maybe as most of our clients, before we started working with them, you might be doing some of the same mistakes over and over again, or they're just some things you currently just don't know. So no matter if you're an agency owner, if you're running a high ticket business, this will be insanely valuable for you. And as I said, we've just recently run a single event that has generated us over $167,000 in revenue on an 18K ad spend in less than a week. We're currently taking over massive ad campaigns for our clients, right? We went, for example, we started working with one of our clients and brought his cost per lead down from $13 to $4, for example, with qualified leads. Yeah, this will be one thing we're going to talk about today as well. And we're currently seeing amazing numbers across all of our clients. It just recently scaled. We were just recently scaling one of our clients. We started working with him 1 month ago when he was at 18K a month, and now he's already hit his first $60,000 in profit, and we'll probably scale him even more. And yeah, make sure to check out any case study that will be released soon here on this channel. Well, first of all, I want to talk about one thing with you guys. What does every single business owner needs who's probably running organic content on YouTube? And if you're not doing this, you should do it. A lead magnet funnel, a way to capture emails, to capture leads that are coming in from your Instagram, from your Twitter, from your LinkedIn, from your X, whatever, right? And basically our lead magnet captures these emails, reinforces reciprocity, which is, oh, I give you something, I don't expect anything bad back, and then the other person feels bad and wants to give us something back. This is the same thing as if someone would just simply gift us a present on the street without wanting anything back, right? And a lead magnet is in general the entry point in an overall funnel system where you get the email, now he's within there, and we want to squeeze the entire juice out of this lead, right? And it helps us build our newsletter list and also our retargeting audiences for paid traffic, right? Keep this in mind. You can literally just set up a custom audience within Meta, and basically everyone who opts in for your lead magnet gets sent over there with their email. And you simply set up a make workflow because it costs less than Zapier, for example, right? And we've been doing this. We've been working with businesses doing $350,000 a month, like literally. This was just the webinar that we ran that I've shown you over there, right? And these businesses didn't even send value-based emails, and I really can't understand why so many businesses we're working with don't even have a newsletter platform, right? They're probably using GHL to send their emails, right? Or whatever else. And a good old email list is so underrated, okay? And we really need to start with the foundations. Like if you currently don't have any of this in place, I just want to run you through the maths really quick, right? And the most important thing is you need to send enough value-based emails within there and no AI generated bullshit. Yeah, you can use Claude to write some of the copy, but make sure it's dialed in, okay, and it's actually something valuable. If not, this won't work. But let's just say you're, for example, capturing 5,000 leads a month with your lead magnet. Okay, it's a free thing. You're running CTAs to it, and every single YouTube video you're good at getting good traffic, whatever. All right, this only makes sense for organic traffic, to be honest, right? And let's say we send 15 emails a month, which isn't that much, to be honest. All right, this would be 75,000 different emails that we send out to people. Okay, let's say our email open rate is 35%, which isn't that high, to be honest. I'm using quite conservative numbers in there. You might recognize that. This would be around 25K email opens over a month. Let's say our click-through rate is 4%. This would be 1K email opens, right? Let's say we're sending these people to a VSL funnel, which we're going to talk about in just a second. And their booked call rate is 3%, which is quite fair. I could actually even say 5% because these people might be already in our newsletter and they are warmer than completely cold leads because they're already getting nurtured, obviously, from our organic content side of things, right? And then let's say our close rate is around 30%. Obviously, you also need to take in mind that not every email will contain a link within there. So that's why a 3% book call rate is quite fair, to be honest. Our close rate is 30%, which is okay. Could even be higher. Then we would just make from a single newsletter a bit around like 50K in revenue just from sending emails. And keep in mind, this list doesn't only contain the leads that you captured in the past, that you captured this month. It also contains the leads that you've captured before, and this basically compounds. So you should basically, as simple as it is, do email marketing. Well, so what lead magnet should you actually use? What could be the thing that you're giving people for their email? Well, your lead magnet should be better than 90% of $49 offers out there in your same niche. Okay, so look at the competition, look at what they're offering for their, maybe even buy their course or whatever it is, or their program, right? And then try to do it better. Right? Give them a taste of what you're actually selling. What is your goal? So, for example, some lead magnets that we're currently using look quite premium, I would say. I've got another one with branding that I unfortunately can't show here, but these are basically our lead magnets. These are like 50 slides of complete value, and the thing that's written in there is actually valuable for this ICP, right? And we're creating this lead magnets literally in seconds with a quite interesting method. If you're interested about this, just DM me on Instagram. I can send you this over. And the lead magnet can basically be a PDF guide. It could be a video module of your program. It could be a checklist. It could be a calculator. It could be a software, whatever, right? Something that relates to what you're actually selling and that's actually valuable and getting moves leads down the sales process. This is essentially what we want, right? And yeah, our lead magnet funnel is structured in the following way. Well, first of all, we have the entry points, right? This could be, as I said, organic content platform, right? And then we're sending these people to an opt-in page, which essentially has a headline, a sub-headline, has a picture of the deliverables. It could have a VSL, but I don't think it's necessary, to be honest, for a free lead magnet. And then it has an opt-in button where we essentially collect the email. Yeah, phone number would be better to have a better matching for Facebook, but essentially we want to use this one not directly for retargeting. We could use it for retargeting audiences, but it's generally better to make sure we collect a lot of emails and get a lot of people that we can nurture through our content and then transform to these people who will later buy from us. All right. And then essentially, they give you their email, the opt-in, you send them the lead magnet via email. And one hack that I can really recommend you, within the email, ask them to put this, to move this email to their inbox if it landed in spam, and ask them to reply to this email. This will increase your overall deliverability, right? And yeah, then basically you can send these people to a simple thank you page. And this is what most people get wrong. They just send them simply, they say, okay, lead magnet funnel, separate thing. I sent them to a thank you page. But essentially what we want to do is we want to send these guys to a different funnel over there, and we want to integrate them in our funnel ecosystem, which means we will send these people after they filled out the opt-in and will receive the lead magnet via email. We say something like, you will receive the XYZ list via email soon, but you're not done yet. Watch this video below. Watch this free training below. We frame the VSL like a free training. And in the VSL, we are basically trying to upsell them to book a call, for example, and actually want to make them buy our main high ticket offer. And just imagine all the people who will get sent to your lead magnet will later then be basically just with one simple link click, they will also see your VSL. So this will increase overall VSL funnel conversion as well, compared to just sending people to a VSL directly, right? And it's more sustainable long-term because you're actually also nurturing people and capturing more emails than just with a simple VSL. And our lead magnets helps us build an organic, nurturing audience that we can always remarket to via email, for example, and leverage for the 2 other funnels that we're going to talk about in a second. Yeah, one of these funnels is the well-known VSL funnel that literally every single info product business out there uses. Most of you probably know it, right? Why? Because a VSL funnel works extremely well. To be honest, it's super simple. The setup is super simple compared to a webinar or to a challenge. It's really extremely simple. But it has to be well learned and generates 24/7 sales 24/7, right? There are a lot of mistakes that we see across brands we work with for a good VSL funnel, using a Loom embed video as the VSL, just being one of them, right? And once you're going cold, you will pay every single of these mistakes that you're probably currently not noticing because you're just remarketing to your warm audience with conversion loss, with your very, very own money, all right? That's why you want to make sure it's dialed in. The VSL funnel isn't just a standalone funnel on its own, okay? It really, really shines as a retargeting method. Now, what do I mean with that? Basically, the VSL funnel is such an amazing asset that you can use always. And with all your campaigns, if you're running a challenge or webinar, we're going to talk about this in a second, you can always use a VSL version. Obviously, you want to split test different VSLs and you want to split test different messaging, cold VSL messaging, warm VSL messaging, different VSLs, different designs, different headlines. And then you want to use these VSLs in their use case to remarket to leads, for example, who have watched one of your challenges but didn't buy. And the main problem of a VSL, unfortunately, is that it's struggling to convert totally cold leads. Okay, so that means when you're running cold traffic to a VSL, you want to make sure that you replicate and shortcut the organic sales process, right? For a completely cold audience. That means when someone books a call, we want to make sure we have a custom audience in Meta. We want to make sure we run 25 to 30 different Hammer ads to them. And we want to make sure we maximize for reach. And we probably get a frequency to around 1 to 2. More about this in all the other videos that I have on this channel, where we're talking about what Hammer ad campaigns we use and how we're actually increasing our show up rates and how we're taking a completely cold lead and making them and warming them up through our funnel. Well, let's talk about the VSL funnel at all. So how does the structure look like? Well, first of all, we have all of our entry points. This will be a warm VSL funnel, by the way, right? So we have, for example, our lead magnet, the upsell page, we have our X account, our YouTube, our Facebook page, our Instagram Reels, our newsletter, and then we have CTAs in there, and we're sending people, for example, DM me the word XYZ on Twitter or whatever, and we're sending people to our opt-in page? Hell no. Hell no. An opt-in page adds friction. It's completely unnecessary because basically our lead magnet that we're running separately is our opt-in. And in our type form that we're using in our VSL funnel, we already have a partial submit point that collects all the lead data when we want to do that, right? So it really makes no sense. It just gets people to drop off, and you don't want to do this. Okay. Well, we have our sales page as the first page, which is basically our VSL page, and it contains a headline, as you can see over there, this is one of the sales pages we're currently running for one of our clients. A headline, which is normally something like learn. This really depends on if you're talking to a warm or cold traffic. For warmer traffic, it could be something like learn the XYZ method that's helping XYZ ICP to do Z outcome in X time or whatever. Okay. I think you get what I mean. For example, learn the direct to brand sourcing strategy that's helping Amazon businesses 3x their margins in 2 months. Just an example, right? It really depends who you want to talk to. Then we have the VSL over there. We have a type form there below. Make sure your VSL is hosted on Wistia or whatever, right? Don't ever host it on Loom, okay? And also you can see like the retention curves in there, and this is something you really wanna like data you need to find out. Okay, where are drop-offs happening in a VSL? How is our retention rate overall? What should I improve the hook? Should I change the proof part? Should I change the retention? Should I add something in there? Right? Should I make it shorter? VSL generally between 10 to 15 minutes. We also work with clients who are running 40-minute VSLs that work extremely well. This is for a completely cold traffic, and then the VSL is more or less like webinar. Well, then we have a type from plus Calendly in there. You could use a lot of other applications in there, but there's nothing that completes that seamlessly, easy as type from and Calendly, because essentially what we're doing, we have our we have our type form within there, the type form embedded on the same exact page. And within the type form, we have the Calendly embedded in there as well as a type form step. So people basically can't submit the type form without booking a call. And that's why we have a lot of one partial submit point in there to capture lead data before they even book a call, because there will be a drop off and we still want to get the leads in there, especially leads who are qualified. And we want to make sure we follow up with them with our email sequence. We have a conditional logic back in there. We have a conditional integration system with our CRM. And I probably will release an entire backend system on this channel as well. Well, and after this, essentially do it embedded on your page, because with a redirect to an external page, you will always have a drop off. And especially Calendly, where I just recently noticed, takes a lot of time to load for some people. Okay, so make sure you embed everything on the same page, and then you optimize this page's load speed. Okay, makes it easy, makes it really easy. And load speed is a reason why people drop off. When you're running ads, you can create a custom metric in there in your ads manager to basically see why how high your load rate is. This would be basically landing page views and clicks, the relation between that, right? Well, then we have partial submit points, as I said. We have student proof in there. We have more student wins. And what we could do is we could really add an entire sales page in there. Normally, we don't want to do this because we want to centralize for the VSL. We want people to watch this VSL. Like the VSL is everything that we want them to watch. And this is where the magic is happening. And what really, really, really matters is this above the fold thing, which is essentially until there, right? Yeah. And then we have our type form with conditional logic with financial qualification, as you can see over there. So we have a question on how much capital do you have to invest? And when they don't have enough, we send them to the DQ one. I will release an entire VSL funnel video here, how to run cold and warm webinars soon. So make sure I'll be running you through the entire setup that we use. So make sure you check it out. And then we basically send the qualified people to book a call, and then we send them to our confirmation page, right? Now, an important thing that you want to do, essential, is you want to pull in the URL parameters. So this would be content, campaign, medium, source, term. You want to make sure this is toggled on. You can toggle this on Typeform. And then you want to forward this data into Calendly, and you want to forward and sync this data in your exact CRM. So you want to create custom fields in your CRM, and you want to track this data as last touch or first touch UTM. If this confuses you a bit, I will release an entire backend system soon on this channel where I show you how to do this. Okay. And then we send them from there after they filled out the type form and they really qualified. We send them to book a call. And also another thing that you can do for the confirmation page is you pass the event date details to your redirect page in the URL. And then what you, basically a website host can do, essentially what we're doing first, like the page builder that you're using, we're using Lovable for this, is you can basically extract the data from the URL and plug it into the landing page itself. So I could say, hey, first name that got forwarded from Calendly. You have booked your call. Hey, first name, here's your Calendly event link. Hey, first name, add this link to your calendar here. This is doable, and it will increase your overall show up rates because it's personalized. Okay. And then you forward these people who booked a call to a qualified thank you page. It has a thank you WSL on it generally, right? Nothing special. Just telling them what to expect, what to do to accept the calendar invite, to set reminders. Then we forward the name, the event link, and so on. It has an add to calendar button, and it has 8 to 16 FAQ and objection handling videos for the most common objections that you're currently seeing. Talk to your sales team for that. Okay. Then we have a type form FU page for all the people who aren't qualified, and we basically just send them to a YouTube channel and say something like, yo, a member of the team will be reaching out soon, stuff like that. And we can add these guys to our newsletter too, not to our retargeting audience, because these people are qualified, but essentially you want to make sure you nurture them and you don't lose them because you've got data. So why not use it and nurture these people? Maybe they will convert still. Well, and here are the code best practices, and here's where it gets interesting for people who are already currently running this funnel, who said, well, Simon, I get all of this, this is nothing special for me, I'm currently doing this. Well, then listen to this. Well, essentially, what you want to do with your ads is rich people messaging or in-market messaging. I've got an entire video on this on my channel, so make sure you check this out. We don't have the time to go over all this in this video because this will be mainly about the funnel ecosystem. But essential, like the most important thing is your messaging. With the post Andromeda update, with the AI doing all this stuff, you want to make sure you send back the right data, what you're going to talk about in a second, to the AI behind there, the machine learning AI. And then you want to make sure that your messaging really attracts the people who want to buy. You do this by targeting in-market personas. So you send these people from your ads to a sales page, which essentially has the same exact structure as our warm sales page. But you tailor the entire messaging of this page to your cold audience. So for example, with this Amazon offer, yeah, I could do it if I'm targeting Amazon businesses owners. But if I'm targeting B2C people, like let's say I'm targeting people who've never even started an Amazon business, I would probably say learn how to start an Amazon FBA business without having any experience or whatever. Or learn how everyday people can start an Amazon wholesale business, whatever. But keep in mind that you probably will attract less quality people, because this is just like the general public. So make sure your ad messaging is really dialed in. Okay. Make sure your entire messaging over the funnel stays congruent. Again, more to this on my other videos on this channel. Then here's where it becomes interesting. We still have the financial qualification in there. And then essentially, we basically have the same exact setup. But the thing is, what we essentially have on our qualified thank you page, right? So we have the pixel on a page, well, and on our qualified thank you page, what we have a review content event over there and so on. And on our qualified thank you page, we have basically there are two standards events that we could optimize for. The complete registration one. These are the people who book the call and then they get sent to our qualified thank you page. So something like, thanks for booking this call and so on, right? This page from above you with the thank you yourself. But on the cold one, we obviously have the pixel on it, right? And we have the complete registration event and the scheduled standard event. And you can optimize for one of these in your campaigns. We generally optimize for schedule within our agency, okay? Don't optimize for the low quality event lead. It really makes no sense, okay? Optimize mainly for a complete registration or schedule standard event, because these are used generally by most of the marketers out there who are targeting people who actually want to book a call. So when someone hits your thank you page, this event gets sent back to Meta. The pixel fires and sends back this event to Meta. Okay, it starts conditioning and looking for people who actually schedule. And on the Typeform FU page, we don't want to pixel this page. Okay, capture these leads maybe for your newsletter. Maybe you could have some setters reach out and try to see if they lied about their income, but I wouldn't do it. It's just like waste of time. Rather focus on these people. And do not pixel this page, as I said. Don't send back this data to Meta. Don't ever do this. Create 2 different pages for it. And then you optimize. You want to create a campaign. You want to optimize for the schedule standard event that's basically gets sent back from the qualified thank you page. Okay. And this is how simple you can basically set up a VSL funnel. Well, we've been talking about an ecosystem, right, in this video. Well, let me show you how you can use this basically. Well, what have we talked about so far? We have a lead magnet. We are sending these people later to a VSL funnel. Then we have buyers, and then we have people who won't buy, or who won't even schedule a call, or who don't show up. And the reasons could be they are not far enough in the sales process, meaning they are not warm enough. They need more nurturing. They need some incentives and occasion to buy, which could be a discount or a bonus. Or they didn't even book because the pre-recorded VSL, they maybe hit the page, but they didn't book because the pre-recorded VSL failed to establish trust. Because it's pre-recorded, it's a 50-minute video. I would understand it if someone doesn't book from there. So what we're going to do is, for people who need another conversion mechanism, meaning another event mechanism, we're going to run a webinar. As a retargeting webinar to clean out our pipeline, if you want to promote it with organic content, obviously. And we're also going to run a call promotion for it. This is like where you can scale it later. You could run a cold plus warm mixed webinar. Then you need to be very, very sure about your messaging to make sure it aligns and you're not talking to completely different people. Or you can just simply run a retargeting webinar to clean out your pipeline to basically just warm traffic. So what you can essentially do is run 1 warm webinar a month and run like 2 to 3 to 4 cold webinars. And this is like really the secret to scale. Well, why do webinars work so well? And as you know, if you're following this channel a bit longer, we're doing a lot of webinars for clients. Well, webinars are insane at building rapport. They revive and hoover leads in your pipeline. They include urgency, FOMO, and occasional buying. Well, I had recently, like 2 months ago probably, I had one of our clients reach out back to us and said something like, yo, people don't buy based on an occasion. They won't buy based on a season, or they won't buy because of a season. Sure they do. What do you think why things like, I don't know, Black Friday, or things like summer discount, or things like whatever are working that well? Because people love this shit. They just need something, an edge, to get off the fence and buy. Okay. And webinars are insane to clean out your sales pipeline and lead to record months for our clients. Well, why do they work? The leads have already seen, have only seen us or you on videos, as you currently probably watching this video right now, right? So maybe on YouTube, on VSL, or ads. But on a webinar, they actually interact with you live. You answer questions, you call out names, you have a special offer, discount, bonus, and you have the ability to deliver value for 2 hours and really show them that you are their man. A webinar is a lead magnet. I really want you to understand this point. A webinar is a lead magnet. But essentially, we are not selling later to them. We're selling on the exact event to them. So the entire training part is the lead magnet. The entire promo, the entire hammer them sequences, the entire emails, the entire lead magnet for our lead magnets, because we're doing lead magnets as well for webinars on the page, as you can see over there, for example, to get even more people to sign up. This is your lead magnet, okay? And also, Another thing what webinars are great at is completely cold webinars are amazing to replicate your organic sales process because it's the fastest way. When someone comes into your channel, they have 7 days of intensive promo, email flows, hammer them ads, and then they see you for 2 hours live. You probably even call out their name and answer their questions in an FAQ. This creates a lot of trust for especially completely cold customers, compared to running the same traffic tool VSL, which you could obviously do in split test because some people just convert from a different event. And you also target different people when you, for example, target optimizing your campaign for a lead event with the webinar, for example, what you could do. We were going to talk about this in a second, but when you're optimizing for a schedule event instead with a VSL funnel, you will be targeting different people with your meta ads, so your campaigns aren't competing. This is something important to keep in mind. Well, and that's why 2 funnels work that well. Okay, so yeah, that's why webinars work that well. So how do you set up a general webinar funnel? As you can see, we've got a lot of funnels here to come because this is where really the magic happens. First of all, I want to make sure we're still recording and you don't miss out on the sauce. Yes, we are. Perfect. Well, first of all, here's basically how we do it. We have our entry points, which could be our VSL funnel, which could be our lead magnet, which could be just general organic promo, for example, or a newsletter. And then we send them to a rec page, our registration page, right? Where we're selling the opt-in. We have a headline on there, a sub-headline, a timer, a date, an opt-in form. We have an Instagram opt-in autofill to make sure we reduce friction, replace the weird webinar registration embed code in there because it completely sucks since it takes 3 seconds to check out deliverability. You can customize it the way you want. We have an agenda section, we have a lead magnet, and we have a meet your host section and student proof. Okay, so basically a bit of selling, a bit of student proof, introduction, and so on. Then we have a thank you page, which contains a thank you VSL, forwards the name, they run the link. You don't even need to forward the link because you have one link probably. Then you have the WhatsApp group link, add to calendar button, and some objection handling videos. Then we send these leads to our presentation, and I've got a full 6-figure webinar framework here, which is essentially a webinar about the webinar, so you see it in practice. I think 1.5 hours long here on this channel, so make sure you check this out first. And then we're sending them from there to a book a call page or a direct checkout page. And what you can also do is do both. So you could pitch, in the first one, you pitch the direct checkout. Then you introduce the bonuses, direct checkout again. And then for the 50% of people who are still in the room, you pitch them to book a call if they still haven't bought yet. Depends, really. We didn't do this yet. We have normally always optimized for direct checkout or book a call, and it's working as well. So here are the code best practices, and here's where it gets very, very, very interesting. Okay, so this is for the people who said, "Yeah, Simon, I already know all that stuff. Show me something new." All right, here it is. Well, first of all, we have our ads, and we're sending people from our ads to our registration page, right? And we have the same exact registration pages, practices in there, again, similar to the VSL example. We want to make sure the messaging is aligned. And the big problem here is the lead quality. We do not have a type form with a conditional logic in there in a general opt-in, right? We do not have a 10-step type form which filters out people, maybe even with a lead scoring. So when the pixel is well conditioned already and has a lot of data in there, maybe even purchases, you want to take the risk to leave out qualifications because the pixel is already conditioned on the data, and you want to go for the lower CPL that you will get. But when we're dealing with a lot of unqualified leads, and especially when you want to set up a completely new ad account, you want to make sure you add a financial qualification to the opt-in form. Okay, you can do this in different ways. I will leave this step to you, but definitely one financial qualification question to the opt-in form. It doesn't even have to be financial one, right? And then the people who qualify will get sent to our qualified thank you page. And this is the page that is essentially pixeled, and it sends back the standard event, complete registration, or a lead to Meta. Probably a lead, right? And we want to optimize for this standard event in there, right? Then we have the Q one. This is basically the page that isn't pixeled. It's the same thank you page. We still capture these leads, but they won't show up in the ad manager. And that's why you shouldn't panic when you get an inflated cost per lead. You're still capturing these leads. Look into webinar trend. Look into your tracking sheet. You have them in there. But the ones that get reported back to Meta are the ones who are actually qualified. And this way, you already condition your pixel. Sure, you will get less signups, for sure. You have a friction there, okay? But you will only send back more or less qualified people within there. It really depends how much friction you want to add there. I would generally recommend one financial qualifier. It makes it simple, nice and simple. And then presentation and so on and so on. Well, here's another best practice that you could do and that we also implemented, for example, for this webinar that has generated us a 8.4 ROAS. Well, essentially, it's an order bump. And I think most of you know how to do it, but probably not how to implement. Well, first of all, again, we have the same registration page, but this time we don't have a financial qualifier on it. We financially qualifying people through their actions. So we're sending these guys, after they opted in, they will get sent to an upsell page, a simple sales page, okay, where we're upselling a $27, $49, $97, $247 VIP ticket. Okay, this is like a view content event on this page. We have a simple view content event on this page from Pixel side of things, and this is one VIP ticket we did in the past, for example. This could be a raffle, this could be a strategy call, this could be a group coaching, this could be a post-webinar XYZ thing, some deliverables, right, an ebook. And then we're sending these guys to a checkout page. So basically they have the opportunity to check out on this upsell page. So that you click a button, get sent to a checkout page, or that we have a checkout embed even on this page. And then for this checkout page, we have the standard events, add to cart or initiate checkout, right? And then once these people buy, we send them either to the qualified thank you page, so for the people who buy, which is pixeled and sends back the standard event purchase to Meta, which is a high quality event we generally want to optimize for. Okay. And then we want to optimize for this exact standard event within our campaign. The problem could be for a lower volume webinar that you probably won't have enough data available compared to the financial qualifier, because there will be much less people who toggle on the box or who fill out a financial qualifier question compared to actually buying something, right? So this is something you want to keep in mind, and this could be one of the problems of the order bump. However, it would still make sense to implement it because you can already collect the data for your pixel to want to make and collect this custom conversion event for your pixel to want to make sure you optimize it for the purchase event. You want to make sure you collect the purchase event data already, that it gets value sent back to the pixel. So for example, it sends back a $50 value every single time someone hits this page to the pixel, right? Then you can later, once you've got enough data, optimize for this custom conversion events. Once you've got enough value, okay? Because the pixel is already conditioned on it, even though it's not optimizing for it. The DQ page can be pixeled. I'm not against it, but you don't necessarily need to do it because we won't optimize for it. It's the same thank you page. We will still capture those leads, but again, because we're not optimizing for lead or for general confirmation, but we're optimizing for purchase, it won't get sent back. And then we're sending these people the presentation page to book a call, direct checkout, and so on. Okay. You can also optimize for these events later, but this is something for another video. Okay. And this is essentially what we guys do right now. So either for purchase, you could even just optimize for the financial qualifier. And it really depends how your lead quality is right now. You maybe don't have anything of this in place and you get a lot of qualified leads because your pixel started targeting the right people right from the end, right from the beginning. But once you're getting low quality leads within there, you want to make sure you either implement one of these two practices. So which one should you actually choose? Well, I can't give you an answer to this. Just simply split test. And it really depends on your pixel. Okay.
The financial qualifier doesn't liquidate the ad spend because it doesn't get you any money in there. But since probably the upsell isn't the goal, but rather the high ticket that you're selling on the last day of the challenge or on the day of the webinar, this doesn't matter that much. However, once you're getting enough money in there, obviously, and it's just a question, right? So you have less commitment and probably lower quality leads. Someone who toggles on, yeah, I would be ready to invest XYZ, is probably a lower quality than someone who actually invests money. Okay, but on the other hand, you have much more data from more or less qualified people that could equal lower the accuracy, I think. Yeah, what did I want to say? Yeah, basically you have much more data that could basically equal the lower quality that you're getting in there, right? And this is especially good for lower spend webinars and for wellness tutoring at the very beginning, right? When you just want to make sure everything's dialed in. The order bump liquidates the ad spend. It gets high quality leads sent back to the pixel, but you have less leads available that way. And it seems a bit salesy. So it could decrease show-up rates because people are like, oh man, this people is already selling to me. Obviously, most people, when you're targeting rich people, they probably already know it, right? And so that's why an order bump is probably extremely strong for higher volume webinars where you have a lot of people within there, and for a pixel with enough high quality data, or for a pixel with enough high quality data on it, if you don't run an extremely high volume. Okay. Well, and this is essentially how our wonderful funnel triangle works. This is exactly what we do for our clients right now, how we optimize it step by step by step. And I just want to run you through everything again. We have our entry points from organic content to our lead magnet. Then we're sending people from the lead magnet to our upsell page, which is generally the VSL. It could also be the webinar opt-in page, for example, right? Then we have meta ads who are also running through this VSL to simply just target a different section of the market that's optimized for the complete registration event generally, that their complete registration event is targeting. Then we have buyers and we have people who don't buy, right? For one of these reasons, for example. And then we are retargeting the no buyers, or we're generally retargeting people from our lead magnets or email lists or content side of things with our webinars. And we're also running cold webinars to completely new people, because it's one of the most, it adds another conversion mechanism, and it's one of the fastest way to convert a completely cold lead and turn them to a buying customer. Okay, and the leads are warm as hell. So again, from the webinar, we will have buyers and no buyers. So for the people who didn't buy, if it's from a cold webinar, or if it's from warm audience, whatever, we want to retarget those people who attended the webinar but didn't buy or book or whatever. And the VSL is a very, very strong asset to have for this. So we basically just create a retargeting audit. You upload a customer list within there, right? And it's extremely strong to get people off the fence because the leads are extremely warm after the webinar, right? But for any reason, they didn't buy. And that's essentially how we are currently implementing a funnel triangle across nearly all of our clients. Obviously, we do this step by step by step. And these are, in my opinion, and our opinion, and from what works for us and generally in the industry, only 3 single funnels that you probably need to implement right now. Obviously, you could change the webinar with a challenge, for example, which is more or less the same thing, but obviously a bit more heavy to implement. And this is basically how we do it. So you should definitely try this best practices out and try to implement as much funnel overall interaction and conversion as you can, and make sure you really structure your current funnel process from entry to exit point, and then track it. Obviously, you want to always operate in data, and this is probably something that I will reveal on this channel soon. So if you found this video valuable, if you learned a thing of you about setting up funnel campaigns, make sure you subscribe to this channel. I would highly appreciate it. And if you want us guys to come in there in your high ticket business, for example, and implement all these free funnels for you and start running cold campaigns, or start even setting up these funnels, whatever you generally need
feel free to reach out to me. I will include my Instagram details below. Feel free to shoot me a DM over there, and we can see what we can make happen.